Rolling in there?
Affirmative.
Okay, I'm gonna have to drink some. In Japan, adult diapers outsell baby diapers. Did you catch that? I'm gonna say it again. In Japan, adult diapers sell more than baby diapers. That's incredible. The reason for this is twofold. Japan's population is getting older and people in Japan are having fewer babies. But get this, these trends aren't just specific to Japan. While Japan has arguably the oldest population of any country, people are living longer around the globe. And in many places, they're also having fewer kids. But so what, right? I mean, what does it even matter if populations are getting older? Well, it turns out it can matter a lot to you and me. For those of us who are working right now or about to be, it could mean we have a harder time finding meaningful work. See, when older people stay in the workforce longer, it can mean less jobs for younger people trying to start their careers. And these changing populations can also have real consequences for the planet. Older voters tend to care more about healthcare and pensions than about the environment or poverty. So as demographics change, so do political priorities. I mean, from government to jobs to the entire global economy, the changes that are taking place right now will impact our lives as we get old. I'm Mateo, and on today's episode of Zoetic, we're looking at how populations are changing, the consequences of those changes, and what it means that the world is going gray. Everybody got a fresh diaper on? In the UK, they call them nappies. I was thinking about doing this in a diaper. Like, what if I was just wearing it? Never mind. First, let's look at what's happening. One fact that stands out is that people aged 80 and above, those who experts call the oldest old, are the fastest growing age group in the world. That means global population scales are tipping heavily towards the elderly. Age is just a number though, right? The National Institute on Aging estimates that this year, 2017, for the first time in human history, there will be more seniors than toddlers. Why is this? How is humanity getting so old? There are a few main reasons, and like you might expect, they have to do with what's happening at the end of life and what's happening at the beginning of life. Basically, people are living longer and having fewer babies. Medical care is better now than it has ever been before. Better medical care. This means that people who used to live to be 60 or 70 are now living a lot longer. 80 is the new 60, y'all. Don't use that. And with the exception of certain regions, birth rates around the world are going down. More people are deciding not to have a screaming little poop machine. Or at least fewer screaming little poop machines. That's because poverty around the globe keeps falling. That's a good thing. And as countries get richer, they tend to have fewer kids. Less poverty often means better schooling, and research shows that women who receive more education tend to have fewer babies. When you pair longer lives from advanced medical care with fewer babies due to increased access to education, the overall global population gets older. So what will this mean for us? Turns out that a graying globe can have big consequences for people like us who are in the workforce now or will be entering it soon. More older people can mean fewer jobs for young people beginning their careers, and that when young people do get jobs, we might have to stay in entry-level positions for longer because there's less opportunities to move up. And that means less money. So things like buying a house or starting a family might have to be put on hold. And having more older people also impacts how governments spend our tax dollars. Most economies rely on a big population of working age people to support older retired folks. In America, younger people put money into a social security system and older people take money out. Such a system is theoretically self-sustaining. The money you put in when you're working will be there for you when you retire because other younger people will be putting money in, and so on and so on. But when you have older people staying alive longer and fewer babies, that means more people leaving the workforce and taking money out for longer periods of time and less people entering the workforce and putting money in. That's when things get complicated. Healthcare is already one of the largest expenses for many countries, and a growing older population means even bigger costs. I mean, those of us in the workforce now are paying for this growing number of older people, but with birth rates going down, who's gonna pay for us when we're too old to work? One way to bolster the workforce when birth rates drop is to rely on immigration to supply more workers who pay into the social security system. But with many wealthy countries tightening their borders, immigration may not offer much help. And it isn't just rich countries going gray. China's elderly population is exploding. In fact, by 2050, the number of Chinese people aged 65 and older is expected to hit nearly 330 million. That's more than the combined populations of France, Italy, Spain, the UK, and Germany. I'm proud of myself, I did a little math. That's also more than the population of the entire United States right now. In about 30 years, China's gonna have more old people than the United States has in totality right now. So what are countries going to do? These changing demographics bring up important questions that are worth paying attention to, like will we need to start turning schools into nursing homes, and how will countries shift politically as their populations continue to age? In China, the government already canceled the one-child policy they had implemented in 1980 to cut the country's population growth. China's economy needs a baby boom to keep their workforce productive and strong. And politically, older people tend to be more conservative, so it's possible that huge blocks of aging voters could mean a trend towards global conservatism. What that will mean for world issues like climate change and refugee programs remains to be seen. Some experts believe that a graying globe could mean a more peaceful world, because older folks tend to be less prone to conflict. The truth is, we don't know what the future will hold. Humanity has never been as elderly as we are right now. This is brand new territory. It brings up interesting new challenges. All we really know is that demographics are changing and countries are going to have to change with them. I like working on Zoetic, you guys. It gives me the space to look into weird little factoids. Is the world going gray? Populations are getting older. What does that mean? If you guys have weird little facts, put them in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you don't mind. That helps us out a lot. I appreciate it, you guys. Much love.